I'm going to hit start. It's going to calculate.
Drive to the route shown.
Look how fast it just added charging stops.
Limited access road.
Yeah.
Your route has multiple necessary charging stops.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Ida.
What do you have back there for amenities?
Let's see, I have an espresso maker, a coffee machine. No.
You'll notice this one is wrapped. So this was originally an all-white ID Buzz, and they actually wrapped it green. And it's because, and I've actually seen articles talking about this, no one was interested in it while it was single tone. A little storage door there that actually has, if you look at the side of it, you've got the world. And it will show you, if I went to a DC fast charger right now, I would pull at max 104 kilowatts at 63%.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another EV Geek Studio review. As always, I'm Joel, he's Sebastian, and today, courtesy of Volkswagen of Little Rock, we're excited about this one. We have the 2025 ID Buzz. This is the Pro S, stickered for, looks like $61,980. This does get you 234 miles EPA estimated range. Sebastian, thoughts on this?
Yeah, so we're going to talk about, there are some pretty strong opinions on this vehicle about its range and its price. And so we'll kind of touch on that as we go, because just on right off the bat, the number you just said is not amazing.
Yep.
234 miles in 2025 is not that much range,
on
especially
on
a 91 kilowatt hour battery.
Yep.
But the thing is shaped like this.
Yes.
So it makes sense. That said, I love the way this thing looks. You'll notice this one is wrapped. So this was originally an all-white ID Buzz, and they actually wrapped it green. And it's because, and I've actually seen articles talking about this, no one was interested in it while it was single tone. And Volkswagen has also, I've seen articles talking about Volkswagen has been urging their dealers to any single color Buzzes they have to wrap them so that they're two-tone. And so that's what they did. This is a green vinyl wrap on a originally all-white car. Like you said, this is the Pro S. You got these 20-inch wheels with the black center caps. I think they look pretty sweet.
Yep.
And yeah, I just, you know, riding over here, it was a good ride over, and I'm excited to kind of show off the tech and stuff and walk around it. This is a big vehicle. It's a minivan, bus, I guess. They want you to call it a microbus, but it's a minivan.
Yep.
It's a 3-row, of course, and there's not that many 3-row EVs on the market right now. So yeah, I'm just super pumped about this. I'm happy it's finally here. You know, I feel like Volkswagen's been teasing a new bus forever. And I'm glad there's finally one here in the US.
Gotcha. Yeah, so we're excited to get this done. And once again, another shout out to Volkswagen Little Rock for letting us have our hands on this for a few hours. So just like our normal reviews, we're going to do a quick walk around. Sebastian will go over the tech, which we noticed driving from an older Volkswagen ID4, the tech has improved on that. And then we'll do a driving review, then head back to dealership for our final thoughts. So stay tuned. All right, we are back. Sebastian, let's do a quick tour of the outside of this Volkswagen ID Buzz.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, this is the not ID4, golly, already messed up.
Yep.
ID Buzz Pro S trim. This is not the first edition, this is the Pro S. And like you mentioned, it's a 91 kilowatt hour battery. This is the rear wheel drive model. I think it's 91 kilowatt hours and I believe 85 kilowatt hour usable, which is what the size of a pack is in a Model Y, correct? It's an 85 kilowatt hour pack in a Model Y, I believe.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Anyway, so 85 usable, and that's why it's 234 miles of EPA range, because there's no way to make this aerodynamic.
Yeah.
There's
They
just
tried.
not. That said, going around town, you know, it looks like efficiency on it, or was reading over the last like 300 miles, 2.1-ish miles per kilowatt hour, which if you do some quick math on that, that gets you pretty close to EPA.
Yep.
Peak charge speeds, I believe, are right around 200 kilowatt, and it has some actually good stuff in there to help you get that number. We'll show it off when we get on the inside, but let's walk around it. So, as mentioned, this was originally a candy white exterior. They wrapped the bottom in this lime green color. I think it looks pretty sweet, but I also kind of still prefer the factory two-tone that's more of a mint green. I think that one looks a little better, and also it's not vinyl. You get these 20-inch wheels, right?
There are 20s.
20-inch wheels, big black center caps, and these are actually kind of cool because if you take the center cap off, it's like a 5-spoke design that actually still looks pretty good. You just then would have to get center caps for it. Coming around, this being a van, you have power sliding doors. We'll open one up here in a second. You have this applique trim here on the side. Come around back, you have a big old light bar and a gigantic trunk opening. which you can open with the key or on the button. So you can see here's your key. You actually have buttons here for your power slide doors, lock, unlock, panic alarm, and trunk. Would have really liked to see. So you see they went through the effort to make buttons for power sliding doors, but then they still left just a sedan for the trunk button.
Yep.
It's like a little attention to detail, right?
That's right.
Anyway, press and hold it. We'll pop it open. We'll pop it open.
There it is.
We'll pop it open. Okay, anyway, it has worked every time until right then. So coming in here, trunk is not that big with the third row up. It's pretty, I mean, it's plenty tall, but like I've got my bag in here and it's taking up most of the floor space. There's a roll of vinyl back here. It has an included 32 amp, 240 volt EVSE on this one. You do have these little things, which are kind of neat. So they have Velcro on the bottom, and so you can stick them to the floor and use them as like a little cargo divider. So if you have something you don't want to slide around, you can take both sides.
A good old gallon of milk.
Boom.
Yep.
Which is, I mean, very German, very over-engineered, but neat. And you can see they actually fold as well. And if you, just for, already broke it. Having a hard time, Joel.
I know. There it is.
There we go. Pull that off and you have a tire mobility kit inside. But here's where the cool stuff is. So, third row seat. You can fold down with these little tabs here, pop it forward, boom. And I like that this actually Velcros to the carpet to keep it flat. And when you want to raise it back up, you just pull. But if you're someone who's buying this and you maybe don't necessarily need the third row, you can actually pull this here and remove the third row seat entirely. Yep. And then you would have a much, much larger cargo space.
Yep.
I'll click that back in. Easy to, should be.
Did that lock it? Yep.
There you go. Fold it back up, and then you got your headrest, of course, that
that's a new.
Look like a
big old headrest.
B2 battle droid. Yep. Anyway.
Over here, what do we got?
Over here, you've got grocery bag hook and a 12-volt cigarette style light outlet. And not a whole lot else in the trunk to talk about. Like I said, with the third row up, it's not very big. Which
it's typical for most fans.
Most fans, that's normal. You do have a power close. Let's see if it works. It worked. Coming around to the passenger side, you've got your charge port door. Gigantic door.
Not over-engineered or anything.
But it's because this is for every market. You know, in China it gets GBT and all that. And you have a interestingly designed J1772 or CCS port. You see it's got these like slits in it, which I assume must just be for like water drainage. You pull this little tab out on the bottom for your CCS port, and then this
dangles.
It just dangles.
Which we know what you would do with that.
Yep, exactly. I wasn't going to say it. Anyway, pop it closed. And it's smart enough to know, because these are power sliding doors, if the charge port door is open, if the door doesn't open all the way, because otherwise it would hit the door.
Yep.
All right, let's open up one of these doors, and then we can show off the third row seat, second row seat, and then we will do a little quick wraparound. We'll look and see if it has a frunk. I'm doubtful, because the ID4 doesn't have one. Power slide doors, so I've got the key on me. You just have to squeeze the handle. There you go. We're going to slide on open. This one has, I believe they call this interior Moonlight. It's this kind of burgundy color, dark headliner, dark doors. You've got this kind of like blue accenting around it. To get in the third row, you got a handle here. Pull that up, slides forward and tilts the seat forward. I love this as someone who has car seats, because the way this whole seat tilts, you don't actually have to remove the car seat. So Joel, you are 6'1"?
I'm 6'1", yep.
All right, so you're about to get locked back there and tell me how it feels.
Yeah, so plenty of room. And my seat's not even
yeah, and if I put this back
right
into the level where the seat was,
plenty
still
of
good.
room.
What do you have back there for amenities?
Let's see, I have an espresso maker, a coffee machine. No, I have some cup holders. I have a little ledge here to put like my phone in, I guess, or something like that. And I also have a USB-C.
Yeah, should be USB-C ports on both sides. You also notice the speaker.
Has an air vent. I got speakers, so yes, USB-C's on both sides.
But it's not a bad place to be, especially once you get that headrest pulled up and not digging in your back.
And this is, I'm not sure what that's for.
Looks like maybe a clip.
Like clip for a netting you can put across, I guess. There's one on each side. So
interesting.
Yeah. So I guess you could put like maybe a netting across each side. So yeah, interesting.
But yeah, I mean, I got back there earlier and I was like, hey, this is not bad at all.
Nope.
I could be an adult in the third row of a vehicle, which never happens.
You got the little hand straps up there too to help you get in and out?
Yeah, and so pull that back. I'll take this. It's a manual seat. Just slide it back to where it was. Hop in the second row. I mean,
so much room.
so much room.
I mean, you could, especially if you had a big dog or something, plenty of room for it to lay down in.
Oh yeah. And you'll notice here on the pillar, you have your button to close the door, which we won't do right now. You can also, if you look at the passenger door, you'll see you have heated seats as well as a window switch because it is a sliding window and it does open. And you have your USB-C port there on the back of the door, as well as a climate control panel on the roof that gives you just basic control like temperature and fan speed. And I was noticing as we were driving around, it was smart enough to know. So when first time we drove it, I was in the passenger seat and it had our climate on up front, and these were set to eco. Second time I drove it, when I got back here, they turned themselves off of eco automatically and turned on the climate, which was nice. And I noticed the front passenger seat went to eco.
So you don't have to worry about controlling the climate back here if no one's back here, so yeah.
Right. But yeah, I mean, plenty of room. It's a pretty comfortable space. One thing I did notice, no cup holders in the second row.
So I'm thinking they're in the door.
But they're so low.
They're very low.
And I don't see how you would put like a McDonald's cup in there.
They're oddly designed too, yes.
Yeah.
But a lot of little pockets and everything back here.
You also have your pull handle there, which is nice. And if you look at the door, at the top there, you have your manual release, and you can press that button in the middle and it will turn off the power assist. Okay. For if you ever needed to do that for whatever reason.
Gotcha. That's kind of what it looks like here from the back.
You also have a little storage door there that actually has, if you look at the side of it, you've got the world.
The world.
In abstract. But yeah, and then on the back of the seat, look, you've got
a little pocket
up here and your pocket down there, which is cool.
If you want to hang your phone in there to charge while it's charging. So yeah. All right, so we're going to hop in the front. Sebastian's going to go over
first we got to look and see if it has a frunk.
Oh, we got to do the frunk. That's right.
Let's go look and see if it has a frunk. Oh, I opened the wrong door. I thought I was being cool.
It looks like it's smiling at you, doesn't it? Yes, it does. All right. By the way, this logo looks really cool when it's lit up.
Oh, yeah.
And
no frunk. Just a bunch of mechanical stuff. You got your wiper fluid. You got a fabric strap to keep this from flying forward.
Yep.
Yeah.
So no frunk.
And I mean, really, I think the front end of this thing looks nice. You know, it's not identical to the old bus, right? It doesn't have the big round headlights, but they kept the gigantic Volkswagen logo, which I love, and they just modernized it. I think it looks so good. You'll also notice, you'll also notice your driver's assistance cameras are actually super low on the windshield because otherwise they'd be in the sky. But yeah, ready to get in?
Ready to get in. Let's go inside. We'll take a peek at what the front looks like and tech review, and then Sebastian will get to drive it because I already have been.
Yep.
All right. Finally inside. Sebastian, let's look at this infotainment.
Before we look at the infotainment. Let's just do a tour real quick of what you get in here.
Yes.
So first off, this is, like I said, the darker moonlight interior. You notice on your front driver's seat you have an armrest, and you also have an armrest on the driver's side as well that you can lower.
Oh, wow. Cool.
So you can really get yourself in there, and you've got the button on the front. If you press and hold it, it will actually lock the armrest where you leave it. If you want to show kind of.
Love that. I like the blue accent.
So I'm going to put that one up because I want to be able to get out of the car.
That usually helps.
And so you also, when you look around here, you'll notice you've got this not real wood material on the dash. This is plastic. You've got a little storage tray here. You've got your glove box down low, air vents in the normal places. And then you've got the new updated Volkswagen infotainment system. You have down here, you have buttons for your power doors as well as a button to turn them off. You fold this out, you've got cup holders. And you've got this little cubby thing that has a built-in ice scraper.
Gotta love the Germans.
And for a different activity, you have a cap opener.
Open those bottles of cola. And you can adjust where you put those too, I see.
Yeah, so there's multiple places you can put them as well. And so you have, like I mentioned, you have a drawer here on the back. And in the front you have a little pocket that pops open. And for whatever reason, I haven't figured this one out why, if you press in here,
You take the whole thing out.
Take the whole thing out, take it with you. Boom,
Yep.
it's yours now. And it just sits on the floor like that.
Yep.
So, get it back in place.
There we go.
Don't know why you would need to take that out of your car at any given time.
Maybe you want to take it and have it beside you while you're watching a soccer game, like what's happening over here.
Maybe, I guess. It's like your picnic basket, I
Yes.
guess. Yeah. Visibility of the front of this thing looks amazing.
The longest dash you've ever seen.
Super long dash, gigantic window, gigantic like sail windows here in addition to gigantic drive.
You can see that vehicle assist box down there.
Yeah, where all
assist,
your
the driver
driver's
assist, yeah.
assistance features are. Auto dimming mirror, no camera, which we'll talk about in a second.
Mm-hmm.
This looks just like it does in the ID4. It operates the exact same way. You don't even have to hand me the camera because there's not that much to look at. Right now you have kind of your assistance on the left and does like navigation and warnings on the right. Speed in the middle, you can hit it again. Now you have just your speed. Actually, it's not even going to do anything because I guess we're in park, but your navigation can come up on the left or your trip computer. Not even a whole lot to look at there. Let's look at the infotainment.
We also have, oh, don't forget,
wireless charging pad, 2 USB-C ports here. In addition, you have a USB-C port in your door.
There's USB-C ports for everything over here, so yeah.
I do not have a USB-C port. I have a trunk switch.
Nope.
But I have these two here.
Yes.
All right, let's look at the infotainment. So this is the newer Volkswagen software.
Yes.
And in the short drive over here, it works way better than it did in that 2023 ID4 we drove.
That was pretty bad.
This is a huge improvement over that. So let's just start first off. So this is your home screen. You've got map on the left. IDA is giving you suggestions here. You've got your radio, music, and charging menu. Let's go into navigation. So you have built-in route planning, and it works pretty dang well.
It does.
We're going to go to Austin, Texas. And you will see, I'm going to hit start. It's going to calculate.
Please drive to the route shown. The
Look how
next
fast it just
stopover
added charging
is on
stops.
Limited access road.
Yeah.
Your
And just,
route has multiple necessary charging stops.
thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Ida.
But yeah, and you can swipe this over, and boom, there's every stop listed out for you, and you can click on them, and it tells you 14% to 66% and 22 minutes.
Add that first one, the 62 kilowatt. Yep.
Yeah, this last stop is a 62 kilo. I wouldn't make that stop. But what's nice too is, let me cancel this, is you can come in here to settings, and e-route planner, I want to leave that on, but you can come in here and you can actually adjust how much range you want left when you get to your destination and when you go to a charging stop. You can have it go all the way down to 5 miles, and because it's a Volkswagen, you can tell it, I only want to stop at Electrify America.
Yes.
Which I'll keep my mouth shut on that one.
Yep.
You also have a button here if you want to turn on or off on route preconditioning. I don't know why you would ever want to turn that off, but you can.
Yep.
But yeah, just the speed at which, and I'm gonna even just for giggles, let's go somewhere further away. Let's go to
Washington, D.C.
start calculating.
Please drive to the route shown. The next
I mean, look
stopover
how
is on
fast
a
it just
limited
added charging
access
stops.
We'll get
road.
there at
Your
5:56
route has
a.m.
multiple
So
necessary charging stops.
Electrify America, EV Connect,
here we go, Mercedes-Benz.
and then it's more stops than that,
Yep.
obviously. But
Yeah.
still, the fact that it did it that quickly, and I mean, it's looking like that's not even a bad stop, really.
Nope.
28 minutes, 30 minutes, 31, 18. Like, that's not bad
No,
at
they're not.
all. And I think it's showing there's one more stop in here. And I think that's what that says. You see,
Yeah.
it has a 1 next to it.
Yep.
But yeah, just the speed is remarkable for what it is. Coming back into the home screen, you can see you have your app selector here on the left. You tap on that and you have all the things. So you got your phone, radio, media. This does have wireless CarPlay, and I believe also Android Auto.
And Sirius XM.
Navigation, of course. Vehicle, if you go in here, you get your vehicle settings. So this gives you a little like fly around, which is kind of cool, where you can look at exterior lighting settings. Do you want it to do the animation? Do you want it to come on and off when you approach? Do you want to do tail light, which has 3 apparently animations? Come in here, mirror settings for power mirror or synchronized adjustment, tires, all that makes sense. Oh, you can set up winter tires. Nice. Headlights, cornering lights. This has the hardware for matrix lighting. It's not enabled because our US laws are different than they are overseas. Which is what it is. Swipe around, now you've got, see what's under brakes. Traction control, anti-roll, auto hold, okay. Windows, convenience opening all windows. Opening and closing. Keyless access, lock when leaving, unlock when approaching. Warn you if it can't. Okay, that makes sense. Yep. And then you have your wiper settings. So you do have auto wipers in here. You can do it automatically wipe, and you can put them in the service position, which puts them straight up vertical like that. You can see those are gigantic wipers.
Yeah, like bus.
And they operate just like a minivan would, where they, well, that means they're always cleaning the sensor suite, which is nice.
Which is good, yep. Because most wipers miss that.
For sure. And then you can come in here as well, interior, and you have your cockpit, so you can reset your trip computers. You have your interior lighting, so that's your display brightness and whatnot. You have ID light, so there is a bar all the way across the dash here that is actually a communication light, and you can go on and let me see if I turn the brightness on and you show it. You can see kind of what it looks like, and so it lights up to do things like when you have your navigation going, it'll swipe across when it's time to turn. When you're talking to the voice assistant, it lights up. If you're not paying attention and it knows you're not paying attention.
This has some very quick driver notifications if you take your eyes off for just like 3 seconds.
It will flash at you and be like, hey, look at the damn road.
Yes. I had trouble changing the radio station because it kept buzzing on me.
So pretty sweet. You also have your seat menu in here. You can set up easy entry for driver and front passenger, which is nice to see. See, I don't think there's much else here. You can also go in here to status, and you can see it's got currently 334 miles on the odometer, and you have your trip computer, so you can see in the last 40 miles we've averaged 3 miles per kilowatt hour, which is not that bad for this to be the shape that it is.
I just found something else about you. This pops out.
Oh yeah, you got a thigh extender. Yeah, yeah, which is super nice.
That's nice, especially on long trips. Yep.
And so while we're on the subject of seats, if you come in here you have a seat menu, and you actually get massaging seats. Driver and front passenger. Now it's pretty much only lower back lumbar support, lumbar massaging, but it is there. You also have your positions here, so you can adjust. I can use mine and adjust your seat.
That was weird.
Which, I mean, is handy.
Yep.
Let's see here. We looked at vehicle. So charging, let's talk about charging menu. This is actually pretty sweet. So right now we're at 63%, it says 166 miles. You have this, you can set your charge limit. You can adjust down to 50%. You can see they recommend an 80% charge limit. You can go higher than that, but it'll tell you 80% recommended. Here's the part that I think is cool. You can click here on optimization, and it will show you if I went to a DC fast charger right now, I would pull at max 104 kilowatts at 63%. And if the battery was cold or too hot and needed to be preconditioned, this right here wouldn't say optimal. It would say preconditioning needed for, and it says like 16 minutes or something like that. And then you have a button to go on and
so if you have to do it real quick, not unplanned charge stop, you can hit that real quick.
Yep. Which is pretty sweet if it's needed. You can also go in here and set up your charge locations and then set limits and whatnot to each individual location. And then you can go in here and set up like e-route. If you have route planner, like we mentioned, you can reduce your AC charge current. I wish it told you what it was reducing to. But it's available. You can also have it unlock the connector when it's done.
You can obviously pick the amperage in there if you want to reduce it. So yeah.
You also have this, which I think is neat. It's called battery care mode. So if you go in here and you have this turned on and you set the target charge level above 80%, once the car is done charging, it'll automatically reset the level back to 80%.
Okay.
So you don't forget.
Gotcha.
Which is kind of cool. Coming back here, go to the menu. You have your climate stuff. You have your assist system. So this is where you look at, you have adaptive cruise control, obviously. You have auto emergency braking. You have your lane change and side assist and your blind spot monitoring. You've got lane keep assist. You've got speed limit recognition. Super nice stuff. Easy, makes sense. Come in here, you've got drive modes. So this has Eco, Comfort, Sport, and Custom. In Custom, you can go in and you can set up driving dynamics. Right now they're set driving dynamics Sport, steering Comfort, drivetrain Sport, adaptive cruise control Comfort. Put it in sport mode and you can probably drive like a BMW owner.
Maybe not as quite.
See here, light assist. I don't know what that means, to be honest with you. And then climate, do you want Comfort and Eco? So I think it's interesting you can tie climate to the drive mode. Which I guess if you do Eco, it probably puts everything in Eco, including climate. I'm gonna put it back on just Comfort. Come back here, see here, that was drive mode. You have ambient lighting in here. So let me see if I can figure out how to get that to show up somewhere.
It's hard because
it's daytime, it's hard to see. But right now I have it set to Vitality. I'm gonna set it to U4. You can also see it changes the color of the screen as well. Or you can do custom and you can set up like bands of light, and it's an interesting design choice. So I'm gonna put it back on. I like Vitality. We'll come here. This does support multiple user profiles. You have Ida, which is the voice assistant, and
We tried her. She works.
we tried. It works okay. Let's see here. You have climate menu. So it looks like this. You can also get to it one tap with this button that says Clima. Huge improvement over old cars.
Yes.
This panel of capacitive switches is finally backlit.
So you can see it at night.
So you can actually see it at night. Anyway, so you have your little menu here. You can come in here and, what's it say? Take the buzz. Interesting.
Yep.
Anyway, so you can go in here. You change where the air is blowing. You can also quickly adjust fan speed to take it off auto. You got your smart climate. Oh, look at that. Do you want to clear the windshield? Do you want your feet cold, feet warm, fresh air, warm your hands?
Quick heating, quick cooling. Yep.
Cool. You also have heated seat. Here it's heated steering wheel, and you can hit that, and now you have your access to rear climate. You see it's on eco mode because no one's back there. It did it automatically. Super nice. You can also lock that so no one can adjust the
If you have little kids
with
that
the
wanna
panels
play
on the
with it,
back,
yep.
which I guess you can actually show now. You can probably see them now that the car is on.
Yeah, it says eco. Yep.
And then you also have a button here. You can just turn off the rear climate if you wanted to. Coming back in here, you do have heated and cooled seats, which you know how I feel about cooled seats. I'm actually going to go ahead and turn those on for me.
Yeah, it's 70 degrees. He's got to have cold seats on.
You just can't, you don't understand being a sweaty boy.
No, I don't.
The car also supports over-the-air updates, and I believe it's over-the-air updates to basically every module on the vehicle, which is a nice touch.
Cool.
I'm glad to see some legacy automakers finally kind of getting with the program and doing that, because we've seen, you know, other automakers do it as well. So a couple Volkswagen things about this car. The window switches are dumb, and the way they work, so it's like this whole panel is capacitive, and like I accidentally folded the mirrors in, and it took me forever to figure out how to unfold the mirrors, and like you accidentally end up tapping things. So like that's child lock, and you to roll the windows down, you know, you have your window switches, but then you have to hit a button to then control the rear windows. I do appreciate they are all auto, which is nice. You can just one tap them. And I think if I remember right, if you have windows open, wait for it to finish. You can like press and hold this, and you see how it flashes. So then when I hit it,
everything closes.
it actually does all of them.
Cool.
But it's just, you know what's easier than doing that? Having 4 window switches.
That's right. Just extending that panel about 1.5 inches long. I'm gonna put 2 more.
But that's a minor complaint,
Yep.
okay? No,
Very German.
this, otherwise though, the seats are comfortable.
Yep.
It's a good seating position. You can see everything. I apparently still have the heated steering wheel on. Doot, doot. Oh, it's 3 levels of heat. That's actually kind of fancy. It's kind of nice. You also have your vehicle favorites, so you can actually change this. So right now we have auto hold in here. You can come in here and you can add things. So like you can add trip computer. You can add, let's see here. Do you want to put the wipers in service position? Do you want to fold in? Like you can change kind of what's here, and so then you kind of have a quick access to. So now like when I go up here, I have trip, and it'll reset the trip computer. Okay. So yeah.
There we go.
Not a whole lot else I want to show off here. Let's go to parking real quick. So you can see it has park assist on here. You also have camera. This trim does not have 360 cameras, which I was really surprised by. But you do have your rear camera. It does show guidelines. It has the front. Oh, it's got a front. Is that a front? Or is that behind us?
That is behind us, because
Okay.
there's cars behind us, yes.
Yeah. You can also do that to look kind of down on if you had like a trailer ball
But
or
just
whatever.
the 2, yep.
But just the front, or just the rear, not the front, which is weird. You do have the 360 sensors, though, which is nice. All right, I think we're ready to drive.
All right, so we're going to get out of this parking lot and join you here back in a few minutes when we're out on the road. See you in a bit. All right, we got through the streets of Little Rock, getting ready to come out to the interstate. So, Sebastian, what do you think driving through these narrow streets with a big old honking ID Buzz?
Yeah, so visibility out of the front of this thing is amazing.
Yeah.
So you've got, of course, giant windshield. You've got these like giant sail windows on both sides. Like you can see everything, and it's nice because like it took me a second to get used to it. You know, most cars you want to be able to see the hood, right? So you know where the corners is. There's no need to see the hood on this thing.
Nope.
Because the corners are.
You are sitting so high. We're not used to sitting this high up in an EV.
No.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just like you don't need to see the hood and you don't see the corners because the front is right there.
Yeah.
Like there's no So yeah, it's awesome. The suspension's pretty decent on city roads. Like, you know, we've got some pretty bumpy spots around here, and you can definitely feel them. It's not an air suspension or anything like that. But for a coil suspension, it's not bad at all. It's got, this being the rear-wheel drive model, you know, it has less power than the all-wheel drive, obviously, but it has plenty. It feels fine, and it still gives you kind of more, that more refined EV drive experience, especially compared to the ID4 we drove.
Oh, yeah.
The ID4 we drove, the throttle response was basically identical to like a gas car.
Yeah.
This one drives more like an EV where you put your foot down and it kind of gives you that instant torque and that instant pull and stuff like that. It's not like a Tesla. It doesn't pin you.
Yes. You're not going to be thrown to the back. You don't get thrown to the back of the seat.
But it gives you your power a lot faster than it did in the ID4 we drove. I'm really kind of liking this very simple gauge cluster screen. Right now it's showing me my speed and our kind of directions where you have it put in directions back to the dealership, because I was also wanting to maybe be able to show off the ID light, because I think it's kind of a cool feature. I do wish it had a camera mirror. That is one thing I love it in my car, and so every time we get in a car that has one, I'm like, yes, this is awesome, this is great. And then every time we get in a car that doesn't have it, I'm like, oh.
We actually have an upcoming podcast where we pulled a bunch of people to see what features all EVs should have, and we're going to see if that one makes the list.
I forgot we did that. I forgot we're doing that.
We forgot about that one, didn't
I completely forgot.
We got to record that. I got about 300 or 400 responses to go through, but yeah. All right, so up to interstate driving.
So it's pretty, like, there's some road noise 100%, and there's some wind noise. It's not that bad.
No.
You do have blind spot monitoring on the mirrors here, and it's really like a big light on the side, which is nice. Well, there's not a car next to it. I can't make it pop up, Joel.
Yes.
Let's get out here. Let's do some driver's assistance testing. So it has 3 modes. So right now we are in travel assist. You can also go into just basic adaptive cruise or just basic cruise control, which I love to be able to actually have that adjustability.
Yeah.
Especially because, like, there's been times I've been driving like my wife's car and there's been like snow on the front bumper. Well, then adaptive cruise doesn't work, and then you just have no cruise whatsoever.
Yeah, and there's people like my wife who will only use cruise control and won't use anything else.
Yeah. So I have it in travel assist. I'm going to hit set. It says it's on. And it should now be doing lane centering and lane keeping. We're about to go around a small bend and find out. We're also going to see if this is a capacitive wheel. So we are going around the bend. It's doing a pretty dang good job. Take over steering.
There we go.
Capacitive wheel. Love to see it, because that means you don't have to give it any torque. You don't have to. You just kind of leave your hand resting.
You don't have to give it the Tesla shimmy, which you gotta do.
Yeah, you can just leave your hand on it, and that's awesome. Like, I love that. And I mean, it's doing a good job keeping us within the lane. Let's see. Give it a tap. No.
It did for me earlier.
Are you sure it did it, and it didn't just drift out of the lane?
Maybe it just drifted out of lane, but yeah, try it again.
I think it's just drifting out of the lane.
That's why I noticed it going real slow. It just drifted out of the lane, so
that's fine. Okay, so if you can see that, you see it's showing me a little light, and it's because it just changed my directions on my screen here, and it's actually showing me that we're forking, and it's telling me what lane I need to be in.
That is a cool feature. So it's letting you know you got to go to the left up here sometime soon.
Yeah, and you can see here.
It's even now it's kind of doing an arrow thing for you too.
Yeah, and yeah, that's actually cool too, how it's actually showing us the road and showing us to get over, and that's actually a really well done navigation.
Yes. Much improvement from the ID4 to 2022
so much
ID.
improvement over the 2022 or 2023. I don't remember what year it was. But yeah, this is a pretty, like, this would be a really easy car to road trip. My only hesitation on that is 234 miles of range enough range?
Yeah. But like you said, if you get 180 on the freeway, on the interstate driving, that's 2.5 hours you're gonna have to stop. So doing 65,
right,
70,
that's something like you and I, because we have kids, whatever.
Yes.
We're not going to be able to go more than 2.5 hours without stopping unless the kids are asleep.
Yeah. Or you're not drinking any liquids the entire time.
Right.
Yes.
But at the same time, there's always the case for, for example, we've driven Silverado and Sierra EV. Now those have an insane amount of range, right? It just automatically changed our speed limit to 55 to match the speed.
Yep. So
nice. Cool to see that it does that. Anyway. So those have, of course, an insane amount of amounts of range, right? Like 400 something miles.
Yeah.
Well, the beauty of those is no one's going 400 miles without stopping.
Yep.
The beauty of it is you can kind of pick and choose your links, right?
Yeah.
You can say, oh, well, I'm only going to charge you 50% here. because I'll drive 200 miles and I want to stop here.
Yeah.
But if you want to, you can overcharge, and it gives you flexibility to kind of pick where your next stop is. There's not going to be that level of flexibility with only 234 miles of range. You're essentially always going to drive 180 miles and stop.
Yep.
Which is fine. It's not ideal, and it's one of those. I understand it's a 91 kilowatt hour battery pack, and they probably didn't want to put a bigger one because it adds weight. But it needed an extra 10 to 15 kilowatt hours, I think, to give it, you know, a little push closer to 300 miles of range.
Yep. Maybe like around 280.
And that's kind of where the other issue that people complain on this car is. It's 234 miles of range, and this one is stickered at 61 grand.
Mm-hmm.
That's a decent amount of money, especially when you look at kind of that range figure. But there's nothing else on the market like this.
Nope.
You know, and if you kind of put it in comparison to, say, three-row SUVs, you know, 61 grand is not that far off something like an EV9.
Yep.
Now, an EV9 has more range and charges better, but the EV9 is not this big on the inside, and I don't think it's like CC&C doesn't work this well.
No.
The software in here is way better.
Yep.
I think the driver's assistant seems to work just as well as HDO2.
It navigates to supercharger, so that's so much better.
It navigates to DC fast
DC
chargers
fast
and route
charging,
plan.
yes.
That is a huge improvement already. I think the driver's assistant works just as well. I think the seats are more comfortable in this over the EV9, which I didn't dislike the EV9. The EV9 is a great car. I think it's one of the best three-row EV SUVs you have outside of like Rivian.
Yep.
Or like the $90,000 EX90. But if you start looking at this and kind of compare it to the EV9, you're like, oh, okay, well, this is similar price, and this is a much larger vehicle. This has a fully usable third row. And I mean, you're 6'1", you fit back there, no problem. I could have sat in front of you. We would have been comfortable the whole way there.
More second and third row seating in this as compared to an EV9.
Yeah,
Easily,
and yes, it has less range, but I think you're getting a better package almost. And this thing just looks cool.
It does.
It's just cool.
We get some people stopping, looking at us, driving by, looking at us.
It makes you smile.
Video, so yeah.
Yeah, it makes you smile just driving around and knowing like this is what you are. Both of the people in front of that car are just on their phone. That's insane. Sorry, easily distracted there. But yeah, and I love like some of the little quirky things. And I've seen stuff online too. It has some personality. Like when you cross over a certain mile, it's like numbers of miles on the odometer. It pops up on the screen and says, "Did you know that you've driven the same distance as it is to like the International Space Station?" Yeah. And it's just like little things like that, just like little bits of personality too, which is supposed to have personality.
Yeah,
it's a bus.
It's a bus. It has to.
I actually really do like this thing. I understand why people would be nervous about the range on this, and I get it, and that's a valid criticism, and I hope maybe either Volkswagen finds a way to make the motors more efficient or squeeze a couple extra kilowatt hours into the battery pack, or maybe do a battery chemistry change so they can fit, whatever they need to do to, bump that range number up just a little bit, because that is the one thing that everyone knocks on this vehicle, and it's a valid criticism.
It is. All right, well, we are almost back to Volkswagen of Little Rock, where we're going to do our final video. Once again, a shout out to Tay and his team out there. They had the car ready for us. We just drove it off the lots. We will join you here shortly for our final thoughts. All right, so we made it back here. We're across the street from Volkswagen of Little Rock. So, final thoughts, Sebastian.
Yeah, so I guess I've kind of already said a lot of what I was going to say here. I'm really bad at doing that sometimes.
Just give us a recap.
So, super comfortable. All the stuff you touch immediately feels pretty nice. There is some cheaper plastic in here, like the top of the dash is that scratchy material, this kind of lower dash area. The fact that this isn't real wood kind of is a bummer. That said, like, armrest feels nice, the seats are nice, steering wheel feels great, all that's nice. Software is a huge, huge, huge improvement over the older ID4 that we drove. Huge improvement. Like, it's still not perfect. It did freeze up on us once or twice, but it's so much better. This is serviceable. This is usable. This is better than the Kia software. This is better than the Hyundai software. I really like all the kind of quirkiness that they added to it and the little features like the ID light and the navigation. The fact that navigation does route planning and it doesn't like instantaneous is awesome.
You don't have to wait and have to load and give you
and it gives you the configurability to go in and set, like, I want to arrive to chargers dead. Or I want to arrive to chargers with plenty of buffer. Like, you can go in and you can do that. Or you can say, I want to get to my destination at a different level. I love that. Like, that's a great feature. I understand why they do this one in miles and not percent, because people think in miles of how far they can drive. That said, I do appreciate that the screen actually tells you both battery percentage and how many miles are left. I appreciate this is an EV that you don't have to use a start button.
It has one as a backup.
It has one as a backup on the side of the column, but you just get in, put your foot on the brake, it's on. When you get out, it turns off. That makes perfect sense. The bad, it's a little expensive, I think. You know, this one's 61. Well, 61 doesn't sound bad, especially because this has most of the options. But it's still 61 grand for a car of 234 miles of range.
Gotcha.
You know, that's just, it's hard to get around that. There's some...
My family just arrived. They're going to check this out. So I was telling them to hold off for me while we record. So, yeah.
But
This car is a niche car. It's asserting a certain person who's looking for this car. It's not a person thinking, oh, I need a 3-row SUV. You know, let's look at the Buzz. It's tailored to a certain person, which is why I think for that person, that range and the efficiency is probably not going to matter as much. But just from a stylistic point of view, this is probably one of the coolest cars we've driven. It's just quirky. It's just cool. It's neat. It's very, you know, I don't know how to say it. It's just a really cool car to drive. You get lots of looks in it. I like the wrap job. I'd probably like the more factory colors that they have instead of the wrap job. It's a little, I mean, it does match the EV Geek podcast, which would be cool. Let's get one of these and put our logo on and drive around in it. It'd be great. So if you want to donate to that, let me know. We'll do that for everything for else. But yeah, I love it too. I love how the software is much more improved than what it was in the old ID4. But yeah, just a really nice ride.
Yeah, and I love Volkswagen has figured out a way. Modern cars don't seem to ever have personality anymore, right? Like they all are kind of more appliance based, and like, yes, the software will be what sets them apart, but they kind of all, this one has personality, and it's hard to explain until you actually get in and you start driving one and you kind of realize, but like, it's quirky, it's a bus. It matches what the bus is supposed to be.
Yep. Once again, huge shout out to the team across the street over here at Volkswagen of Little Rock for taking care of us today. And thank you all for watching. And we will join you. We hope you join us again on another EV Geek Studio review. So long, everyone.